What's going on, everyone, and a massive welcome back to the Double Double NBA Show Australia. Anthony's already laughing at me. It's your host Jack and my co-host Anthony, the 3-point man. Anthony, how you going? Skype 2.0, mate.
Good, mate. We're back on Skype, which is exciting to see. I was going to do the thing where, like, once you talk, I just repeat exactly what you say at the same time. But that's why I started laughing, because I was like, oh, it'd be funny if I do that. But, I've tried that trick a few times. I don't know if it'll pass again.
Come on, mate. Come on. You're better than that. But before I do start, quickly going to get off the bat by saying a massive thanks to everyone that jumped over to our new YouTube channel at DoubleDoubleNBA. We've got just under 15 subscribers, so we can't quit our day jobs just yet. But we're getting there. But no, in all seriousness, thank you to everyone that went over and have been checking out the videos. This is going up again on there. Don't forget, please like, subscribe. The last one showed we both had 10 likes on each of the videos, which is a lot more than what I expected. So we'll try and shoot for how many likes on this video?
11. And also, your wife will thank you if you go on the thing and
Your wife
like it. So a bit of an inside joke about some stuff, but yeah,
we'll reveal that later. We'll reveal that later. But yeah, thank you, everyone. Keep going over, sharing it. We are going to be running some giveaways. To be honest, it's purely up to my laziness. I've actually got the giveaway thing in the other room next to me. I just haven't posted it or even messaged Anthony and told him that this is what we're doing yet. So that's onto me. I should organise that a little bit better. But yeah, check it out. Also, our Instagram while we're at it, Double Double NBA Australia. We're over 1,000 followers. We're nearly at the 1,200 mark. So if we can get to that, we've got another giveaway planned at 1,500 followers again on that, which Anthony's the social media king at the moment. He's been hammering it out.
Oh, mate. And I reckon, just real quickly, before we get to Summer League, I reckon my pick of the Celtics, I reckon I'm on with the win there. They had a gutsy win the other day, and I reckon I got that in the bag. Just putting that out there. So if you want to jump on and I'm a Lakers fan saying the Celtics are going to win something, so it's a big thing, but, here's what it is.
Another thing, if you want to know who's posting, Anthony always uses the same font. He always uses the same font that's like really skinny. So if you ever wondered who's posted it, if it's skinny font, it's Anthony.
I'm gonna start doing like all these mismatched fonts and stuff and like overlayers and stuff, so you won't know it's me anymore.
You won't know it's me. Honestly, your Summer League one was really good. We didn't share that many of the responses we got, but like you had bloody stickers and everything. You had the little Celtics thing in your state. I was thoroughly impressed.
Yeah, sometimes you get bored in bed, and you just got to play with something.
Okay, there you go. Well, we'll move on to the do you want to do the NBA draft first or the Summer League?
Let's smash out the NBA draft because let's do things in order. So, the NBA draft was about a week ago. It was the day after we last recorded and jumped on for you guys. Top three went pretty much as expected. Cade, Jalen, Evan Mobley off the board straight away in those orders with no trades. I personally didn't really think there was going to be any trades. Why would you when all three could be an absolute steal / franchise player? So biggest shuffle up and change that we all, or pretty much anyone I ever talked to, was always saying Suggs is number 4 on this list. Suggs was even loosely associated with the top 3. But that didn't go to plan. Raptors threw a wrench right up in there and got Scotty Barnes. What did you think of that?
It definitely shocked me. I understand mock drafts don't mean anything because they're just a matter of opinion. But I didn't really think that the top 4 would move. I knew from 4 to 60 was going to be an absolute shuffle along, and even there's some other selections that I didn't think was going to happen. But I honestly thought Suggs was a lock-in for the Raptors, and I'm really interested that they went the route of Scotty Barnes. I think it's going to be good to see. But yeah, I was shocked. To answer your question flat out, I was very shocked. I was sitting there on the lounge with me coffee, and I was like, "Huh?" I didn't expect it.
It was a bloody shock and a half.
What about you? Shock and a half. You were shocked? Like you didn't see it coming?
Beyond shocked, to be completely honest. It just to go for someone in the top 4 that can't score is pretty tough. Where Suggs, at least he's going to get up shots and he's going to try to score. Where Scotty Barnes, he sort of doesn't even try to shoot. He plays defense and plays it really, really well. Like we said in our preview show, you could just basically drop Scotty Barnes into the NBA and he would be in the top 20 defenders in the NBA. No problems, no questions asked. 100%. Might be in the top 20 defenders, but he's flat out breaking the top 10,000 scorers in the world for basketball.
Yeah.
I reckon I could find some park basketballers in Australia that have a better shot than him. So, namely myself. But it is
all
what
that
it is.
40-year-old bloke that used to play at the 3-on-3 thing that like played for the Bullets and just would hit everything.
Yeah, he was a good player, that's for sure. So,
but like the thing is too, like you can talk about, you keep up a lot more in regards to teams and the type of talent they're looking out for. You look at the Raptors and you're like, all right, they need to go get a genuine scorer, right? The Kyle Lowry's gone, they need a scorer. Fred VanVleet, yeah, he's a good player, but we've seen he has very much this, very much, and they needed a guarantee score. And I thought Suggs could have been someone they plug in for the future. And I just want to get your thoughts on this. Then they go and get a defender. Like, are you on the same page I am, or do you have a different opinion to me?
Well, I think this is a little bit of like we still think we're competitive, and this is a win now sort of move. So now it's going to move. Siakam at the moment, if they don't make any more moves, which, he's rumoured in a bunch of trades, but Siakam at the moment, we've seen in the past, is someone that can be relied on for like a 22, 23 point average per game. And, he's going to have to pick up the load. There's going to have to be a bit more scoring from Gary Trent, who they just threw a bag of money at as well. So players like those two, and then also because you're going to run out your lineup of Freddie VanVleet, you'll have Gary Trent, you'll have Scotty Barnes playing the 3, Pascal at the 4, and then you can drop in pretty much anyone you sort of want at the 5. I know I always forget his name, the real big, tall, skinny dude, and it's not going to come to my mind, that was playing centre for them at the end of last year that they got out of the G League. I always forget his name. But anyway, I know exactly who I'm talking about. But have him playing centre, or anyone, really, that's a good defender.
Yeah.
And you all of a sudden have 2 guards that, they're not the biggest, but Gary Trent can at least defend really well.
He's 3-and-D.
Tries really hard. There'll be a very good defensive team. It's going to all come down to the scoring, and will they have enough scoring? That's going to be the question.
I think they're extremely lucky they're in the East. They couldn't have made this decision in the West because there's absolutely zero chance they could be competitive with the team they have in the West. There's no chance.
No. But at the same time, though, are they the number 1 in the East? No. Number 2? No. Number 3? No.
I'm talking like 7, 8. Like 7,
exactly.
8, 6.
I look down at this roster and I'm like, you're a 7, 8, 9 seed at best. Like, why would you go out and get a player like this?
You're playing tournament team. Like,
however, if Scotty Barnes can learn how to shoot, mate. But in all honesty, if he can even just get adequate like OG Anunoby from 3. There's someone else the Raptors have that I forgot about that could line up for them. So maybe Pascal would be playing the 5. Who knows? But if he can get to like mid 35% 3-point shooter, all of a sudden you've got a very, very good player in the NBA for not just now, but for literally 15, 20 years. We see people like...
You know who he is? He's genuinely a reincarnation of my favourite player, and he's Tony Allen.
Oh, a little bit.
Defensively, unreal, but offensively, couldn't hit the side of a barn.
No, but if he can get his shooting up to just say like Trevor Ariza or something, Trevor Ariza's friggin' old as, and he's still running around now for the Lakers. So, there's potential there, but still a shock over Jalen Suggs.
I think the bit that concerns me, though, you've just talked about how the Raptors believe that they're competitive and that they can jump in and challenge, and this is to really help boost their team. If they're trying to be competitive, they're not going to let him. I feel like they won't let him develop. They won't let him take up his 40 million shots and stuff like that, which is how you're going to get better rather than shooting in an open gym.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like, I don't know. I mean, I can see it, but I can't see it because Jalen Suggs could be a franchise leader. Someone like literally.
That's an all-star. That's an all-star right there.
Kyle Lowry 2.0 that like you plug in, you have him at your franchise forever. Scotty Barnes I see as more of like a very good player. Don't get me wrong. I reckon he could even be an all-star one day. But
definitely.
I feel he's more of one of those players that you're like, oh, look, we're going to dangle Scotty Barnes to get someone like Jalen Suggs.
That's a good point.
What I just don't get. So
it's like moving on to the Suggs thing. So he goes to the Magic.
Magic have a good young core.
So Kevin O'Connor has officially transferred from the Bright Future Suns because they made the draft to the Bright Future Magic. So that's the next team that has the young core that could exceed it. To be honest, I'd agree with it. I think you got Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs now on the same team. In a few years, not so much at the moment, but in not 5 years, in 2-3 years, if they both develop how they're going, that could be especially in the East. I can see them floating up around between that 4th to 6th seed in a few years' time if everything goes on track.
Yeah.
They've also
Yeah,
got
no,
some
100%.
other guys that they're developing. So I think I honestly reckon the Magic were uber glad that he slipped down to their pick. They would have been over the moon.
Yeah, and I reckon, to be completely honest, I would just, if I was the Magic, roll out all the young players, anyone that's like, just say 3 or 4 years in the NBA already that they have on their roster, which I don't think there's many, but I would be trading them for second round draft picks, whatever I can get, and just run out this super young team. They'll get run all over for the first couple of years, but you might end up with a few, all-star players. I think Jalen Suggs could be an all-star. I think he's a very good player. So
we're both high
only
on
time will
Cole
tell.
Anthony as well.
Yeah,
we're both high on him. We're going to bet $100 on him to win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, and I'm sort of slowly getting out and out on him. The longer time goes on, the more stock I'm trading in on Cole Anthony. But I didn't want to tell you, so sorry about that, mate.
I might just hang up the call now. Then
let's just call it quits. Thanks for watching.
There. Now the 6th pick. This is the other surprise for me. I did not see this coming. I thought he was going to be an absolute flyer at 10 for the Grizzlies to pick, and that's Josh Giddey, the fellow Australian, jumping in at the 6th pick, going to the Thunder.
Exciting. And the Thunder, to be honest,
didn't see it coming from a mile away.
They pulled the wool over everyone's eyes, being like, we're going to trade, we're taking Kuminga, we're taking Book Night, we're doing this, we're doing that. And next thing you know, 100%. Josh Giddey, here you go, come on down.
It's awesome. It's fantastic that we have another Aussie going nearly top 5. But I thought there was some better players on the board. It sounds really bad that I'm saying this because he's Australian, but I think Josh Giddey's going to be a fantastic player. I just thought for the Suns and what they were, not for the Suns, for the Thunder, and what they were going for and their ethos going forward, I did not think he was the guy they were chasing, which I'm glad that he's there because the Thunder have a really, really big support base in Australia. So that's really good. Yeah,
and also, to be fair, though, imagine pairing up if you do keep the backcourt of Shea. Imagine Shea and Josh Giddey together with players like Lou Dort.
Didn't Shea just get max?
He got plenty of money, So maybe he can swing us a bit, but probably not. I'll ask him. I don't reckon he will.
Sponsor of the show.
Yeah, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Every time we say his name, he's got to give us $20, apparently. That's what he told me last time I talked to him.
I love Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, well, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is actually a really good player. We just made $60 pretty quick. Anyway, back on Josh Giddey. I think he's one of those players though that can fit in any team. Yeah. And his biggest thing is can he shoot? Is he strong enough? Is he athletic enough? We've already seen questions like that from players like Luka Doncic, and the answer is yeah, it's good enough. Josh is Australian, so he's a better version of Luka Doncic, in other words. And Facts. I don't think he's going to have a problem with any team that he goes on. At worst case scenario, honestly, he's already better than Michael Carter-Williams, so he's going to have a job in the NBA.
Well, yeah, and that and the fact, he's going to a team that don't really care about what they're doing, playing-wise at the moment, so
correct,
no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. He'll at least get a season to just do whatever he sort of really wants.
The reason he went to 6 is, which I heard this on a Locked On podcast, of all things, you got me onto those guys, was the GM of the Oklahoma City Thunder went out to dinner with him and just loved him as a human and was like, I want him. So shows the type of bloke he is. Now, number 7 was the Warriors. Now, this is a perfect draft for fitting my idea. I'll let you talk about it a little bit more because you're a closet Warriors fan.
I am a closet Warriors fan.
Is Jonathan Kuminga. I think it's fantastic fit for the Warriors going forward. They're not going to trade this guy. They're going to keep with him. And he could really add to a really, really dangerous Warriors lineup that we'll be seeing this season.
Yeah, now, I'm the first to admit this. I was well out on Kuminga. I think Kuminga is going to take a few years.
You gave him an absolute rinsing.
The first time that we even talked about him off air, I just hammered him. I was like, he's not even going to crack the top 20 and blah, blah, blah. But then I went back and rewatched some stuff about him. I was getting too caught up on the stats of things. And I didn't really look at the background story, which was that he's literally a year younger than everybody else in the draft in terms of the freshman class. So Kuminga in 1 year's time, is he going to be as good or better than Franz Wagner? Yeah. Is he or current Franz Wagner? Is he going to be better than current Jalen Suggs? I even think the answer is yes.
There's
So
potential. He's
Kuminga,
a year younger.
so Kuminga could end up being the best player in this draft, to be completely honest with you.
100%.
And to get him in the Warriors system, who's quite good at developing people, at the 7th pick, when he was originally expected to be one of the top picks in the draft and possibly number 5, I think that's a steal, to be honest. And if I was the Warriors, I wouldn't trade. I would hang on to what they got, because later on we'll talk about Moses Moody that they got. But 2 big wings that can do a bit of this, bit of that, play multiple positions, defend multiple positions. I just think Kuminga with some development and being not the number 1 option on his team, not trying to show out and be like, oh, look at me,
I agree with this.
Look at how good I am. Look at all the things I can do. I'm going to try to shoot threes when I'm not that good of a 3-point shooter. He'll have a specific role, and it'll be do these 3 things and do them really well, or don't play. So that's what he's going to be at the Warriors. And I think that's going to be really, really good for him, because then he can work on those things. And then over the couple of off seasons, by the time Steph Curry gets old and Klay Thompson can't play anymore, and they get rid of Draymond, or whatever happens with the big 3 at the Warriors, all of a sudden they got a ready-made next big 2 or 3 ready to step in.
Literally. And I think it's sort of, in a way, it complements it a bit. We just seen Eric Pascal, however you say it. He's gone. So I think the sort of Warriors sort of board probably seen that Kuminga has the ability to take that guy's minutes and to do what Eric does essentially in the second unit and stuff like that. So they're like, we don't need him. We're going to flip him, but they're going to put all their eggs in the basket of Kuminga, which is a good person to put all your eggs in, personally.
Man, it's a good basket. So there you go. That's Kuminga. Next up, I know this was a favourite of one of our good friends, Sam Gordon, and it's Franz Wagner from the Magic. So, man, Magic have a pretty mad young core that have some talent. Franz Wagner is another good player, because he's not great at anything, but he's good at a lot of things across the board. Gets rebounds, gets assists, good passer, good shooter, good touch, can defend okay. I think he's a good fit for their team, because let's be real, anyone's a good fit on the Magic, because they need every position. So, it is what it is at the moment for Franz.
Sorry, I just been quiet. So I just pulled up the Orlando Magic roster, and listen to this. So it's Cole Anthony. I just want like the decent
Get ready
players.
For this.
Cole Anthony, Mo Bamba, Wendell Carter Jr., RJ Hampton, Markel Fultz. Obviously, you still think he's going to be an absolute all-star. Gary Harris, Jonathan Isaac, Jalen Suggs, Franz, and Mortis Wagner. Like, you even got people like Terrence Ross, who you can be your leadership, or you do there. Michael Carter Williams, like 29. Like, that is that's a decent team. That's a decent team. In terms of ceiling. Like, would you want that team to get you a playoff spot? God, no, and they won't. But like, you got people like I'm still high on RJ Hampton, except you flick through the positions and they got about 1 million point guard and shooting guard, so I have to make a few decisions there. It's like the New York Knicks of the guard world.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous, but it is what it is. They've got a ton of young talent, which is cool for a team. It's kind of like having draft picks, but like instead of draft picks, it's actual players. Speaking of actual players, let's move on to the Kings draft pick, and that's Davion Mitchell.
Yeah, an absolute baller. Psycho.
If you didn't see in his first, and we posted on the Instagram story, in the his first summer league, I think it was in the California Classic part of the summer league, he put up 1 billion points. He defends extremely well. He's basically literally the exact same. If you haven't seen him play, he literally plays the exact same as Donovan Mitchell, always trying 100%. He's a ball of muscle. He's a combination of Lou Dort and Donovan Mitchell, like wrapped together.
100%.
Still not the efficiency of obviously a Donovan, even though Donovan's not that efficient, but it's not at the same.
Better efficiency than Lou Dort, however.
Yeah, correct. So, and Davion Mitchell, to be fair, is only a rookie, so he's only just starting out. It's had a bit of an off game today, but, is what it is. I think he's a great fit on the Kings, and if I was the Kings, I'd be trading their other players and hanging on to Davion and Tyrese Halliburton as the backcourt and get rid of whatever else you got going on there.
During the draft, so many of the analysts were just like, can't believe Davion Mitchell's still there. Like, they wanted him to go high. Like, one of the ones that wanted him to go the high the most was Kendrick Perkins, and old Big Perk has some pretty different opinions on certain
Do like a
players.
perk tag.
Yeah, perk take, yeah, they're definitely interesting. But like, so, and he was from like pick 6, like from when the Thunder were picking. A lot of people actually thought David Mitchell had the ability to go to that team and to go to that pick, and he was on, like, you know how they do the best available board down the bottom.
Yeah.
He was the best available from 6,
Yeah.
to 9, which is like insane. And like I said, we scored 1,000,000 points for the Kings. The only thing that does worry me is there's only been one guy in the last few years that's gone to the Kings as a rookie and actually been able to make something of himself, because that place is that much of a crap show at the moment,
Oh,
and that's
man.
De'Aaron Fox. Like,
Yeah.
everyone else just seems to die, like, for better or worse. But I'm done on Davian. You want to keep talking about Davian?
No, just I think he's one of those other players as well that worst case scenario, the Kings decide to move on from him. I think he'll fit in a bunch of different places. It doesn't really matter where he goes. He's going to
I
fit
agree.
into a team. So
100%.
let's fly through after this pick, of course. Let's fly through some of the others to
This
save
is
a bit
my
of time.
pick, mate. This is
This is your pick, so you can talk about it. It's obviously the Pelicans pick, but they've traded it to the Grizzlies, and that's Zaire Williams. So
Yeah.
tell me
So
some stuff, mate. You happy?
I am happy. There was a lot of people, because I've been like heaps of groups, heaps of people were like, can't believe we traded Jones Valanciunas to trade up and get a guy that we could get at 17. I don't think he was going to be there at 17 anyway. Apparently, the reason that they took him at 10 is because they had very good intel that he was never going to be there at 17 with it. Like, so that's why they've got him. He played his first game today. Not a crazy stat line. Desmond Bain, though. We'll get to that later. He was unreal. But yeah, Zaire, he's athletic. He done some really, really cool stuff. I'm excited to see his potential. And any kid that LeBron James tweets about, I think they'll be all right. So I think he'll be fine. If LeBron James is still tweeting about him and then congratulating him and saying that the Grizzlies got a real one, then I think they'll be fine with this pick.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. And obviously, he was a great talent coming out of high school and just had a shocker college season. And
Also had so much going on in his life during that college
yep.
season.
And it's basically like just chalk that up as a loss and move on. And now you're a
100%.
professional and get stuck in with your work. So I think, honestly,
literally,
this is one of those like swing for the fences, though. You've either got one of the best picks in this draft, or this bloke's going to be in the G League for plenty of years and might not even get a roster spot.
It's crazy. Hey, it's crazy how a guy at 10 can be like that. But I think, put it this way, the Grizzlies front office hasn't let me down the past 3 years now. So
fingers crossed, mate. All I can do is these double fingers crossed for you. Now, someone that slipped down a little bit from what people were originally saying was one James Bouknight. Now, I've talked about him a billion times. I think he's like good version of Cam Payne, which they uncannily look very similar. However, Bouknight, was it a surprise to you that he went down at 11, or?
I believe, you might have to fact check me on this, but I believe I had him at 12 in like our mock draft between us and
I
Sam.
think he did have him at 12. Yep. I had him very high because I got caught up in the hype of it.
So I can't say I'm surprised.
Big mistake.
This is where I predicted him to go. So I think like he is a good player and stuff like that. So yeah, to me, like, you can keep talking on him if you want, but to me, like, I don't really have much to say because I expected him to be here when he was here. So like,
we've already covered the players anyway. It's just, it's
more
good
of a
on the
surprise.
Hornets.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if anything, the guy that I was a little bit surprised that was a Corey Kispert at 15 to the Wizards. I was kind of a little bit surprised at that pick for that. I was also really happy that my boy Sengun went at 16 to the Thunder. Actually, he's not to the Thunder. He got traded to the Rockets.
Before we get to all of them, we've got the other massive surprise of the draft, and that was Josh Primo to the Spurs. Yeah. Now, this came out of nowhere, and I didn't do too much research on Primo purely for the fact that I sort of stopped looking hard out once I had my like top 25-ish players done, and Primo wasn't in my top 25-ish. However,
he wasn't in people's top 40, man.
I've seen some stuff about in the summer league and some things that have impressed me about him. So it's going to be a combination of me talking a bit about summer league and a bit about this draft pick. I can see why the Spurs have taken him now.
Because he's European.
Even in the summer league, he's athletic. He can kind of shoot, but he can. He works well in the pick and roll. He's got a very, very quick release. He can shoot from a million miles away. All things that are needed in the NBA at the moment. And I think that's why Primo is going to be It's going to be one of those things. He's either going to be a very, very smart pick, or this was a dumb move on the Spurs' behalf. Someone in the front office would have just fallen in love with a workout, I reckon, and just run
Yeah,
with it and be like,
100%.
we have to take
100%.
this guy.
Yep.
Cool thing about Primo, though, is I reckon he's going to come in with a bit of leadership. He always basically thinks that he's the best player on a team. Even in the summer league, you can see him dragging around a few of the boys that have been there for a year or so, being like, you need to go here, you need to do this. And then he just takes a shot himself, which is wicked to see. So pretty excited to see what Josh Primo can do. Not sure if it'll do much, but we'll see in the future. Pacers at number 13 took Chris Duarte, who by all accounts is going to be a solid role player in the NBA. Warriors drafted Moses Moody, which we've already talked about a little bit, that we think that's a extremely smart pick on their behalf. Gives them another wing who could potentially, once again, if they learn how to shoot or shoot a little bit better than they already do, could turn into a really, really good player. So keen to see how he goes as well. You were just talking about number 15, Corey Kispert to the Warriors. What surprised you about that?
I thought there was a few better people on the board at 15 that the Wizards
Şengün.
definitely, yeah, absolutely, that the Wizards definitely could have got. Obviously he's from Gonzaga, which means that the Wizards were instantly attracted to him because they only pick Gonzaga players. So yeah, I was a little bit shocked with that in that aspect. I didn't expect
Do you
him.
reckon Rui was like, oh, nah, he's really good?
Yeah, 100%.
It's take my boy, he's
Like he
really
was like
good.
he's a great shooter, but like I just didn't see the Wizards taking him. If it was another team that took him there, like I think even I sort of trashed him a little bit, but you even got a dude like Keon Johnson, right? So that's your guy. He went to
Oh,
the
yeah.
Clippers at 21.
Yep.
Personally, I think that's a great fit for him anyway. But personally, I think the Wizards could use the skill set of Keon Johnson more than they could use the skill set of Corey Kispert.
Well, this is the thing. The Wizards have some delusional mindset that they are like a top team in the East and that they're going to win stuff. I don't see it.
That's what I mean. But like, so like,
Um,
I just don't
there
see
you
like
go.
even
But
even someone
that's
like
a pick
Jalen
though for
Johnson.
that.
Like I think so, and like I did say like when we if you want to go back and listen to it, like in a draft one, I did say I really like Crocus because I like Gonzaga, but I didn't see that happening. And but yeah, I was happy for Sengun to go at 16 to the Rockets. I think he'd be really good at the Rockets. He'd be able to develop, take his time. Him and Cade
Yeah.
Cunningham would be good to watch together.
Yeah. I'll just fly through the next few picks and then we'll just chat about a couple that we liked, I reckon, just so we're not boring you guys with pick by pick. Number 17 was Trey Murphy, 18 Trey Mann. Number 19, this was a surprise for me, so I do want to talk about it for a little bit. It was a Knicks pick, but then traded to the Hornets, and that's Kai Jones. Now, Kai Jones, I had at number 10 on my board. I think he's going to be phenomenal. I look at Kai Jones as basically a faster, more athletic, can dribble better, and actually has a remnants of a jump shot version of Jarrett Allen, who we just saw got $100 odd million. So to get that with your
Not a bad
19th pick,
payday.
I think you're doing bloody well.
Yeah, Jeff, I'd agree with that. And you look at the Hornets, I think he's going to be paired up really, really well with LaMelo,
Oh,
Bridges, all that type of stuff. So I think
how
that's going to
fun
be a really fun lineup and a really fun team to watch this
Yeah,
season.
because Kai Jones is super athletic, can throw down some thunderous dunks, which he had one in the summer league
Yeah,
yesterday, I believe it was. That was
yeah.
ridiculous, and he just blocks the hell out of everything. So super keen to see him go. I'm surprised he went that low, to be honest, because you guys just got rid of a center. I was thinking, oh, maybe the Grizzlies take a center here. No dice. You know,
Well, yeah,
who knows?
no, because we'll talk about that in another episode. We'll keep kicking on with this one. But the other thing that I kind of was really happy to see, and it's actually gone away from me. Oh, I've just got it. You can take over here. I've just done
Oh,
something
yeah,
to my
mate.
computer. So
I was just going to fly down the list and basically read through the rest of the draft picks. So it's Jalen Johnson, Keon Johnson at 21 to the Clippers, Isaiah Jackson, who ended up going over to the Wizards after a bunch of trades, Garuba, Josh Christopher, Quinton Grimes, Nashon Highland, Cam Thomas, Jalen Springer, who's one of my favourites at the 76ers with the 28th pick, Dayron Sharp, and Santi Aldama, who was another surprise, who's going to the Grizz. So
Pau Gasol 2.0, mate.
pretty much. But the only other thing I want to really touch on the draft, and we're not going to bother going through the second rounders, mate, I reckon the Rockets have made off with an absolute bag of good players out of this draft.
They've done
From
well.
from a team that is actual trash and not even bother worth
100%.
a turn on bloody Summer League, which I'd watch anything in Summer League, to all of a sudden they've got Josh Christopher, Garuba, Jalen Green, and that's just in the first round.
Yeah.
Like, there's some good, interesting players that they're going to end up with moving forward. And I'm keen as to see how they go in the actual season, because they don't really have much else on their team. John Wall's always injured, so there's going to be plenty of shots available for Jalen Green.
It's going to be room there. Just remember with John Wall too, don't spend more than $15, otherwise people get angry. So with that being the end of the draft, that's the end of the draft. We're happy to move on.
Yeah, let's move on from the draft.
Let's move on. Sweet. We're getting
we're all in Summer League.
We're all in Summer League. I'm all in on Summer League. I've got so much stuff I want to talk about. So
Summer League is the greatest thing on the planet. I remember as well, just really quickly, this one's a little bit of an emotional one for me, because I remember, I think it was about 3 years ago, roughly, when we first met. Me, you, and our friend sat down and we were like, let's go to the 2022 Summer League.
We did too. I remember that.
It's coming up. That's next year. So, I'm getting excited already that next year we're going to be there. And all I can say is, if COVID hangs around and if we can't travel, I'm going to be one pissed off person. So next season, Summer League, watch out. The Double Double boys are going to make a mess.
We did actually. I actually forgot about that till just then that we did.
Better start saving, mate. Better start saving.
Sitting there, that's enough basketball cards. But if that's the other thing, I think if you're in the card market, Summer League is your best research book. It's your best research. You get your first look at the players playing against some bigger dudes. You get to know really. In saying that, there's been a few red herrings in the past. Like if you were lucky enough to invest heavily in a guy called Trae Young that had an absolute stinker of a Summer League, and all his prices went and exploded, and now they've gone back up. Good hand movements. But so I think instead of boring you guys with results and us going through each game, do you just want to back each other off and we're just going to talk about some headlines and stuff like that? You happy with that?
Smash that. Yeah, let's do that.
First thing I want to talk about is, and it's actually one of the main things on the NBA website, but we've talked about this personally at golf yesterday. Sophomores getting their first taste, and they are friggin' killing it. We've had people like Emmanuel Quickley and Desmond Bain. Emmanuel Quickley went off for 32. Desmond Bain went off for 32. Man, I'm loving
Obi Toppin got 28. We had Terrence Mann get a bag. Not Terrence Mann.
Best center in the league.
Who's Albite on the Sixers? I've just had a mind blank. On the Sixers, Tyrese Maxey. There we go. Tyrese Maxey.
Looks like Terrence Mann.
He had a bag of points this morning as well. So yeah, tons of sophomores. It's super exciting to see, and there's still more to come as well. And there's still, what else I find crazy is there's still a bunch of people on Summer League rosters that are currently coming back from the Olympics. So exciting all round, I think, on that front.
Is Nico Mannion going to be playing? Is he definitely going to be playing?
Mate, he doesn't need to play in the Summer League. He's starting point guard for the Warriors. You might have heard. Yeah.
So he definitely is playing?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I don't think he is. Okay. I don't think he's listed to play, to be completely honest, on the Warriors team. Now, you surely couldn't have gone for the Grizzlies because their team's not the best team. Who did you actually go for? And tell me the reasons why you went for that team. As the overall winner of the Summer League.
Oh, it still is. What do you mean? Like that's
far out.
It still is the Grizzlies.
All right. However, you tell me why you went for the Grizzlies then, mate.
I think they got a lot more. They've got blokes like John Concha at the moment, and we love John Concha. But the Grizzlies definitely do have a lot better teams than other players. Like you got like Killian Tilly went off today. They got a lot more experience than other teams. Other team I like. I don't think they'll do extremely well, but a team that I'm really interested in walking to have a little bit of stock in is New York. I do like looking at so.
What do you like about the New York side that they've brought over? I know it's mostly about development and trying things, and like the teams don't really care too much if they win or lose. But what do you like about them?
And also, I'd like to put some respect on the reigning champions. Thank you, because we were the last people to win Summer League, so I think you might want to step back a little bit, mate.
All right. Well, We had the Lonzo Kuzma year, and look where that got us, mate. It got us a championship because we traded all those dumb dogs for AD and LeBron. So off me.
And now they're both injured, and you'll be out of the first round playoffs once again. Nice and all great. But no, yes, I really like about the. I think it's more so just like a summer leagues. Very much you think some players are good, and you look at their teams, and then you develop a soft spot for them. What I've done with Emmanuel quickly and Obi Toppin. So
Yeah. No,
pretty simple. That's about it. I have a soft spot for them. I think they're going to be really good players. I like to see them. The other team I'm loving to watch, mainly just because of Davion Mitchell and what he's doing to people, is the Kings. I hate the Kings, actually, if I'm going to be really honest. I just like Davion Mitchell.
Horrible, aren't they?
I just hate the Kings. I hate their normal team. I hate the summer league team. I hate their organization. So if I'm going to be honest, but the other player that I have been really
But you like
happy
Marvin Bagley still.
Oh, he's still going to be good. I think I'm the only person on that island. I don't think I have any support. I think I'm the only person that believes Marvin Bagley is going to be a good player.
And can we just backtrack really quickly? I think I know why you like the New York Knicks. They have one player on their team who used to be a favorite of yours, and that's Wayne Selden, mate. We haven't heard that name in a couple of seasons. Wayne Selden.
Let's just say if Wayne Snelden becomes an all-star, I'm a very rich man. let's just say that. But no, I'm not going to lie and sit here and say that I'm excited to watch Wayne Snelden play basketball because I'd rather watch us play basketball than watch Wayne Snelden play basketball, if I'm going to be honest.
But in all honesty, I reckon you're pretty on the money with New York Knicks. I think they're going to be a good team. My pick, like I chucked up in the story, was the what's-a-majiggers from Boston, the Celtics. Not a fan of the Celtics, as we all pretty well should know.
Because you've got stock in Romeo Langford.
No, I do have a little bit of stock in Romeo Langford, but see, the reason why I reckon they're going to be good, right? Just hear me out before you say no. The reason why
I'm not saying no. You're just your favoritism's creeping out
a little bit, but all of the players that they've taken, right? They don't have too many rookies, so they've got like second, third year dudes that actually get minutes in the NBA. Like Romeo Langford actually gets minutes in the NBA. Carson Edwards, when there's injuries, actually gets minutes in the NBA. And they've got 4 or 5 guys on their roster that are like that. And I just think the combination of A, experience, B, they're still young and they're still not like on the team fully. I think that's going to take over and that's going to be their calling card. And we saw just the other day, they won by 1 point. And I think the reason why they won is they were able to actually grind it out and be like, look, we've been in this position before. Let's slow things down a little bit and let's focus on our defense and get those things right.
That's a great point.
That's why I've gone for the Celtics. I've actually chucked $10 on them, paying $24. So I'll be pretty stoked if it comes
not
off.
only you're emotionally invested, you're financially invested. You're a biased pundit, mate.
I wouldn't actually say like invested. I plan on that $10 being lost, and it's not going to make a difference in my life if I lose $10. So I wouldn't say invested.
They win. Will it make a difference if they win?
Well, it'll make a difference to me, a Kevin Herter card collection, because I've got my eyes on one for $200 that I need. So, it'll buy that for me.
It'll make a difference in that aspect. Absolutely. I think the next thing, I'm going to move us on to another subject, which I know you're just going to get quite, for people that know the male anatomy, Anthony might get a little bit quite excited, so I'm going to have to say seated for a while. And that's a certain, that's a certain Jello ball. Been playing out, and tell you what, you're playing pretty good too. I can't even front it,
mate. I just want to tell you, I know my balls, and he's the best ball. Yeah, okay. I reckon this has just done my mind up for ages, right? Like
everywhere.
Like he can. You've seen Malik Monk play, yeah? Everyone's seen Malik Monk play. Everyone's at least seen highlights of Malik Monk. Because he had a ridiculous 30-something point game one season.
Now, one season, that's the best.
LiAngelo Ball is literally Malik Monk. Like they are almost the same player.
Don't you dare try and tell me that Malik Monk is LiAngelo Ball is better than Malik Monk, because I'm not going to have that.
LiAngelo Ball shits all over Malik Monk, and I love
Malik Monk, mate. LiAngelo Ball does not. He will not be on an NBA team at the end of this. This is very much an experiment that they probably owe LaMelo so he can get that number 1 jersey.
It sounds like we are making a bet in person. I think we should do. What should we do?
Well, I don't know.
I was
We got to
nearly going
figure out. We got to figure out
We-
the grounds of it first.
We can't even do like hobby box of something anymore because that's too expensive. I can't afford that.
Yeah, I'm out. If
Let's
you're
just
doing
go
that.
with one basketball card to the value of maximum $50.
Okay, I'm interested in this. Yeah.
I'm saying LiAngelo Ball will be on an NBA roster, not even as a two-way player. I'm talking signed.
A better way to test this will be, I'll give you a number and you tell me, and you say whether it's going to be overs or unders on how many NBA games he'll play in. I don't even care even if he checks in for.
Oh, no.
30 seconds.
No, we're just going, he's on a roster. He's one of the
That's
15.
too hard to judge though,
How's that too hard to judge?
because like,
It's
well,
yes or no answer.
Are we saying two-way contract because you
No,
technically on a
I
roster,
said no.
two-way
I
contract.
said no two-way contract. I'm saying he's an actual member of the actual 15-man rotation squad that NBA teams have. Not even.
Yeah, but I see. I want a few more.
Oh,
parameters.
look
I
at
want
him
a few more
backing out. Look at
parameters
him
there.
backing out. He's
I
scared
want him
'cause
to
he
actually
knows.
play.
He
He's got to
knows.
play though. I'm happy to do it. He's got to play.
Okay.
He's got to
All
play.
right. And the other stipulation is he has to at least check into one NBA game this season.
Oh, more in 82 games, you're in to check in once.
Well, you 2 seconds ago, you were telling me he's not even going to be on a roster.
I'll give you the over/under of 5.5.
5.5 games done. Sign me up. Sign me up. 20 games done.
20 games.
Sign me up, mate. He's good.
20, if the number's 20,
Look at him. Look how scared he's gotten. Look at him.
If it's 20, are you saying 20?
20, mate. Hobby box of bloody select.
$50 Kevin Hurdy card for a $50 Desmond Bain. No, that probably won't get me too much because he's going good. $50 Tillman. You give me Tillman.
But you're scared. You're proper scared. You said he wouldn't even be on a roster. So you're telling me he's. Yeah, we're on for that.
Okay,
definitely.
Sweet.
But you're telling me.
I can't wait to post the card I get.
Shut up and listen. You're telling me that he's going to be on a roster because you were too scared to say that he'll just be on a roster,
mate. And I've guaranteed myself a present,
mate. Well, I've just guaranteed that you were wrong, so that makes me happy either way. So don't bother.
I can't. When do I get to cash it in?
After the end of the season, because he's got 20 games.
You have to wait 61 games, so he can't hit it.
61? Why 61?
Isn't 82 games this year?
But what if he checked in for 2 games?
What do you mean?
What if he checked in for 2 games already and at 61 it'll have to extend out?
Oh, that's true. We'll wait till the end of the season.
We'll have to wait till the end of the season, but lock it in. I'm going to write it down on my notes from this, and then when I go back to review them...
Mate, don't worry. I won't forget. Oh,
mate, I'm so keen. This is like me Newcastle Knights to make the 8. I'm keen as for that too.
And how did that go?
Currently 8th place, mate. We're hanging in there. Anyway, let's move on.
Seriousness, like before we like move on quickly, I will say though, he's playing
a roster
really well. He's playing really well. And I definitely think he's going to be in the G League somewhere. I don't think he'll be on an NBA
roster, mate.
It's
top 15.
It's cool seeing it reminds me of the Burgess brothers of all things. It's cool seeing 3 brothers
boys, it's super cool.
His mum and dad there, because he's the only one not in the NBA. So I really do like that story.
And did you see the videos of LeVar standing there and he was just like, yeah, Jello, gets up off his seat with his hobbled ass back, old ass. Just like, yeah, Jello, you show them, Jello.
Did you see what Puma flew LaMelo out in?
Nah.
They flew him out on a private jet, fully custom wrapped and customized. Puma sent him out.
Sick.
Yeah, it's insane.
Well, when you got money, you got money, don't you?
And yeah, well, they've got money. So I think, yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm excited to get my $50 card. I cannot wait. That was the most easiest finesse thing I've ever had to do in my life. So that's awesome.
All right, just really quickly, guys, make sure you shout us out. Do you reckon LiAngelo Ball is going to be on a NBA roster?
And play more than 20 games?
Correct. But I just want to know, do you guys think, is he going to be on a roster? Yes or no? Because originally you said he wouldn't. and now you've backed out of that because you're
Well, no,
scared
I said
because
he
you
was going
know
to
he
be
will
two
be on a
way.
roster.
I said he's going to be two.
You know he'll be on a roster.
Well, the thing
You
is,
just
look,
know
mate,
it.
even if he's going to be in a roster, he ain't playing 20 games, so I still get my
Mate,
prize.
easy
I'm
20
happy.
games. He's going to check in, trust me. And I hope, you know what I hope to God, listeners, I hope to God it's on the Grizzlies. And I hope to God every time he checks in, Jack's just like, oh, far out.
It's
Every
easy.
game.
It's
So
easy.
good.
He won't even be there. I'm worried about nothing, to be honest. But
Super simple.
we'll move back to the actual juicy part of our show where we actually talk proper.
That was the juicy part. That's it. I'm going. I'm done. I've had my 5 minutes.
Your 5 minutes, you found out in five segment. Are you, real quick, the top three picks? So obviously Kay Cunningham, Jalen Green, and Evan Mobley. Have you been impressed by any of them that you've really looked at the summer league? I know they've only played one game, a few of them, but have you looked at it and thought, yeah, what I've thought's correct?
It's all pretty much bang on exactly what you thought from the get-go, isn't it? Jalen Green is going to be the best scorer of the lot. Okay,
Scores
I've lost his
23 in
name.
debut.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, he's going to do pretty much a bit of everything, get some rebounds, get a couple of assists, but be very athletic and score. Cade Cunningham, you thought his hardest thing would be shooting and scoring the basketball, which it was, and that he'd stock the stat sheet everywhere else, which he did.
Yep.
And that Mobley would probably be out of the three, take the longest to develop and be the slowest out of the lot, but
I'd
still
agree with you
score,
there.
get rebounds and get blocks. No, not many assists from him, but that's exactly what he did. And they all looked really, really good. And I'd be happy if I was all three of those teams, to be completely honest. So,
any flyers that you've seen that you really like the look of?
Player-wise, I mean,
Player-wise, not so much team-wise, player-wise.
Yeah, I was super impressed, to be completely honest, with Davion Mitchell. Much better than what I thought he was going to be fair.
Yeah.
Even in today's game, I didn't watch today's game just yet, but I just checked the stats. But he looked super, super good. The other player that I'm actually really impressed with is from the Lakers, an undrafted player, and it's Austin Reeves. Now, I looked into him a little bit because we did a full 60 pick mock draft, and I looked into him for the later picks. He's actually legit. He just plays at his own speed, just gets to the basket, gets to his spot. Not very good at shooting. He's a good passer. He's quite big. I'm actually super, super impressed with Austin Reeves. So keep an eye out for him, for someone that's like not ever going to, I can't say that someone's never going to be an all-star, but doesn't project to be an all-star, but kind of like a role player, like
when you're undrafted, it's very hard.
Yeah, like my man Kevin Huerter will just carve out a nice role in the NBA and be there for a bunch of seasons. I reckon Austin Reeves. Off the top of my head, mate, because you sprung that on me, I reckon that's about all I got. What about you? Anyone?
The guy that caught my mind, because I have a soft spot for this team. If the Grizzlies went in, I'd definitely go for this team, which sucks because they suck as well. And that's the Timberwolves. And Jalen Noel had an absolute game and a half today. Did you see his stat line?
Yeah, I did actually.
24, 4, and 6, and a plus 13.
Yeah.
Insane. Then he had Jaden McDaniels played really well again, so he was 18, 4, and 6. They got the win over the Spurs, who sort of, it was okay. My boy Trey Jones played pretty decent, but I'm very impressed with Jalen Noel. Now, Noel has been absolutely criminal for playing good one week and then proving to us that he could not score 10 points in the Boondle competition the next. So we'll see how he backs that up.
And Jack, I'd like to tell you, mate, off a one game sample size, so this might be a little bit too early for everybody in the world, but Şengün looked a little bit more athletic than what I was giving him credit for.
You do not understand European bodies, my friend, and it was a front. It was a front, but from me, I reckon the Thunder were in this guy's ear after they watched him dominate the Turkish league, and they're like, let's just wait a little bit, go have a few Maccas, few quarter pounder meals, chill out a bit, whack it on, and then just come out and fire on all cylinders. And that's absolutely what the Şengün show, that's what we're going to call him, the Şengün show has been running.
Yeah, and anyway, so Şengün, he looked all right as well, not going to lie. So, mate, Rockets
are pretty good. So you actually still believe that the Celtics are going to win all the, even though winning Summer League means F all, but
yeah, it doesn't mean anything, but It's cool, and it's cool for the young players as well, because it does, at the end of the day, you don't step on a basketball court. It doesn't matter who you are or what the situation is. You don't step out on the court to purposely lose.
Absolutely.
And to be like, we're just here for some fun. Like, it's competitive, and you can see in some
There's
of
a
the
lot of
players
players playing for a contract.
exactly
There's a
playing for a
lot of
contract,
players.
even playing for G League contracts, which is not
100%.
tons of money, but it's basketball and it's in America and it's where their families are, rather than having to go and find something overseas. So this stuff's serious, and they take it very, very seriously.
100%, as they should. Like, and like you said, like a lot of these players are playing for their dream, really, to keep playing in America. So that's why I like watching Summer League, because one, you see a lot of players that played in Div 2, Div 3 colleges and stuff like that just happen to get there because they know a guy that knows a guy. That's how they get on some rosters. You also got this year's really good in the aspect. If you haven't watched Summer League before, I'd suggest this year being probably the best year to get into it, because you're seeing sophomore year players actually play. It's not very common that you see sophomore year players that are like semi-decent come back and play.
No,
So
100%.
I'd go and watch it.
Yeah, and you get the occasional one, but yeah, not too many. This year there's tons. Now, one other thing that we said we'd cover this show, which too much talk on the mellow ball, if you ask. Oh, Leangelo, his name.
See, mate, you act like you're a fan. You don't even know his friggin' name.
Nah, one of the balls, all the balls,
All
give them to me.
all you know his name as is $50 PayPal transfer to jackjeffrey10.com, mate. That's all you'll know.
Don't know what you're talking about. I'm not PayPal transferring you anything. But let's run through some of the deals that were done. Now, I know the first day for us, the first day of free agency was a pretty big one. August 2, there was tons of stuff and moves going on. We're not going to go through all of them. We're not going to go through all of them in depth.
I covered a fair few of the big ones on that Fair and Fire,
yeah,
which is
exactly. Yeah, and I know I'm going to talk about a couple in my one that's coming up a bit later on this week, but I'll run through a couple of the weird, interesting ones. Otto Porter Jr. to the Warriors for a 1-year deal. Bit strange.
Didn't see it coming, put it that way.
But it's going to be very, very cheap, which is cool. Shea signed a max extension. Norm Powell got another 5 years at the Trailblazers, which is pretty cool. The Suns, they did their number one job, which was to re-sign Chris Paul. They re-signed Campaign, and they got one JaVale McGee on a 1-year, $5 million contract, which is pretty cool. A lot of money for JaVale. He's only been on about $1 million and a bit for the last couple of seasons, and to go and fork out $5 million. But they did need a backup big man, and JaVale can definitely still give you 15, 20 minutes in an NBA game. So there you go. That's the reason why they did that. Interesting things from the Spurs, however. Doug McDermott, 3 years, and Zach Collins, who hasn't played really in the NBA, 3 years, $22 million. What are your quick thoughts on those two trades? Or not even trades, signings.
Massive overpay for Zach Collins. We've talked about him when we first started the show. I do not like him at all. Gigantic overpay, in my opinion. I think that's very silly.
That's your opinion. I think you're wrong, but I think it is an overpay.
And you also think Lorenzo Ball's going to play 20 games of the NBA. So your opinion means nothing.
That again. Raptors re-signed Gary Trent to an absolute bag and a half for him. 3 years, $54 million. Pistons now. I'm really struggling to see what the Pistons are trying to do. They've got all these good young players, and then they don't get old, good veterans. They just get a bunch of random crap.
Yeah.
So they got Kelly Olynyk, Corey Joseph, and Trey Lyles, all of which, though, could be used in deals to trade in the future, because they're all players that, like, theoretically could be 10, 15-minute gamer players for, like, contending teams.
I think guys like Kelly Olynyk could actually be handy somewhere to a degree. Like, he's not the greatest player, and we've definitely seen that in the past, but he could. It's more of a moves for moves type situation in Detroit, in my mind.
I think it's just like they had money to spend, so let's go and spend it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I reckon this is probably one of the dumbest things. Pelicans didn't re-up Lonzo Ball, speaking of balls, but instead they've done a sign and trade and ended up with Devontae Graham. I think that's a bit weird. Devontae Graham is obviously a scorer, but not a very good shooter, and you want lots of space around Zion.
Good thing you brought that up. I do want to touch on this one for a little bit, because me and you do have a little bit of a soft spot for Devontae Graham. We've talked about him previously on the show. But in saying that, I don't even like Lonzo. Lonzo is by far the better option. By far.
I don't get that at all. I think that was kind of like let's try to recoup our losses once we've already kind of shown Lonzo the door a little bit. I reckon Lonzo sort of heard word that, we're going to try to get Kyle Lowry, or we're going to try to get Chris Paul, and then all of a sudden Lonzo's like, righto, I'm going. I can get more
It
money
could
elsewhere.
also, how much do you if you don't have it all good, we won't worry about it. Do you have how much money it was for Devontae Graham?
4 years, 47, so about 10, 11 and, what's that, nearly 12 million a season.
And what did Lonzo get at the Bulls?
His is about 20 a season. So it's
Yeah.
much cheaper, but
I
they're
think
not spending
the
their
only
money on
reason they've
anything.
done it is because you've got a bloke called Zion Williamson, which if you don't know is pretty good at basketball. He's coming up for a contract extension.
If I was on, I'm turning it down. I'm going. I'm going somewhere good,
You
man.
reckon he will?
Gone.
I legit want to do a show, even if it's just a 5-10 minute show of just us, and I want to talk about the Zion Williams situation, whether we could see something mental like that, because I'd love it. It'd be so good.
Other notable things from that first day. Blake Griffin's re-signed with the Nets for a season. Tim Hardaway Jr. re-signed at the Mavs for a season. The Lakers have basically signed a bunch of old dudes for 1-year contracts. I'm sure everyone's seen them, so I'm not going to go through them. The Knicks, instead of spending their salary cap on new good players, they basically gotten all their old average players back for a bag of money. They got Evan Fournier as well, the French national, for $20 million a season. Don't know if that's worth it.
Nope.
The Kings, they've signed a bunch of rubbish. Jazz re-signed Mike Conley. That's interesting and good, I think. What do you think for the Jazz? Do you think that's a good signing?
I think it's a good sign. I don't think they could afford to let him go. I don't think Mike Conley wanted to go anywhere else. Like, if you let him go, who else are you going to pick up? All the good players that had the upside have already committed to deals somewhere else. Like, if you wanted, like, not saying that they're even relatively close in regards to how good they are, but Lonzo Ball for me is the only other person that plays sort of similar to Mike Conley, except Mike Conley can shoot a lot better. And he's gone. So who are you going to get? Like, no point.
And it's only 25 million a season versus some of the other point guards are at like 40 odd million for someone of his sort of
I could pick up Dennis
stature and
Schroeder
caliber.
for 30 million a season. That's what he's after.
You could pick up Dennis Schroeder for $30 a season at this point. So have fun with that, son. That's what you get for turning down the Lakers. The Heat, man, that first day, the Heat went ham. They basically spent so much money. So they got Kyle Lowry for 3 years. Duncan Robinson, they re-signed. Jimmy Butler, they re-signed. A weird, strange one from the middle of nowhere. PJ Tucker, they got on a 2-year deal. They re-signed Dwayne Dedman, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent. So they got heaps of players back.
That Heat team's looking pretty slick, to be honest, man. That Heat team's looking pretty good.
It is. As we already said, Jared Allen got a bag and a half. He got 5 years, $100 million, which is crazy.
It's crazy.
Caruso and Lonzo Ball, the old Lakers, get to team back up in Chicago. Bulls got Bobby Portis back and Semi Ojeleye. Sorry, not the Bulls, the Bucks. And 76ers, they got their main man re-signed, Furkan Korkmaz. Next day as well was a super big one. The Warriors, they re-signed Steph Curry, which was the main thing that they needed. One of our favourites, mate. He got it. 2-year contract. Jock Landale.
Jock Landale to the Spurs, mate. Unreal.
Super exciting, isn't it? Another Aussie in the NBA. So exciting.
PlayStation.
Patty Mills, but he shifted over to the old Nets, the rivals. Lakers again. Bunch of old dudes again. We got a little bit of youth on our team. We re-signed Talon Horton Tucker, signed Kendrick Nunn 2 years. Only $5 million a season for Kendrick Nunn, I reckon, is actually very good value. I don't think he's good by any means. I'm not saying he's good, but
I'm waiting for your change because I've got the receipts of you being like Kendrick Nunn's a bum. He's useless. And now in a few months' time you watch it'll be Kendrick Nunn for $5 million a season. It is amazing how we've done that.
For like a third point guard, shooting guard on your team, maybe come on and try to get a heater and shoot some threes. I reckon he's all right for $5 million a season. But then we got Carmelo, Malik Monk, so I'm pretty stoked with that.
More old dudes. Your physio bill is going to be mental.
Oh, mate, you're telling me. The other big one from that day was DeMar DeRozan, 3 years to Chicago Bulls. They've got a pretty interesting team.
They've got a great team now. I'm really excited to watch Chicago this season. I think they're going to be a good thing about supporting the Grizzlies is usually after about the first round of the playoffs, you've got a few other teams you can look at. So I think I'll be looking towards the Bulls this year. They got Zach LaVine, like I talked about it in my foul out in 5. Like that's a competitive team. That is a competitive team. That's going to be a hell of a team.
That's for sure. The other big ones from the next day, Spencer Dinwiddie to the Wizards and Kemba Walker to the Knicks on a buyout deal as well.
Don't know if I love that, to be honest.
It wasn't for much money though, the Knicks one. So that's super
Yeah.
cheap for them. I reckon that's what it is. It's basically like 2 years. This dude used to be an all-star like what, 2 seasons ago?
I'm just not sold. I just don't think he's that good anymore. If you're gonna be blanket with, and I think Knicks have. I like Derrick Rose is better than Kemba Walker in my opinion. Some people would think that's ridiculous, but I honestly believe he's a better player at the moment.
Don't know. I won't say anything on that. Other than that, though, to be completely honest, hasn't been too many big moves. There's been a couple other big re-signing contracts, but nothing in terms of the moves, nothing too big and nothing too exciting.
I agree. Well, that brings to the end of the show because I was supposed to leave 4 minutes ago. So that's interesting. So massive thank you to everyone tuning in. We'll try and organise Anthony to stop by at the studio, aka my house, so we can film his Fouled Out in 5. If he can't, I'll have to do another one, but I'm sure I can get him here with his fantastic organisational skills.
Don't you worry.
Well, it's not like you've let me down before, hey?
Nah, never.
All right, then. Thanks, heaps, guys. Go check out our Instagram. Remember, like, subscribe, share, get ready for the giveaways that'll be coming out. All our giveaways get announced on our Instagram. Other than that, we're done. So, peace everyone. Have fun.
See yous.
Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! Lob. Durant! Oh, baby! Alley-oop. Oh, Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron